question. Do any of you see what I've been seeing here in the USA? First off, if you've done some research on this, you know that the Quran does not see Jesus as the Son of God, right? In fact, it only says he's the son of Mary when it comes to his lineage. Those of us that have done some research also know that the Vatican invented the religion of Islam and actually wrote the Quran so as to have the means by which to legally kill Christians by using the political excuse society has been conditioned lately to accept as the sanctified media sideshow most of us know as the war on terrorism. Now, we also know the Vatican was instrumental in starting up the One World Church back on June 26, 2000, and it has been confirmed just by watching the parade of religious and political leaders filing in and out of the Vatican that the Pope was elected the official leader of it. But if you want a little bit more information in regards to all that, just see my July of 2000 Truth Provided newsletter on that. Now, with this One World Church, wherein the term Chrislam has been coined so as to get the Christians, the lukewarm Christians rather, accustomed to accepting Islam and then Sharia law in many nations across the globe, including the USA, wherein some judges have already bowed to Sharia in the courts of America. We see everyone in bed with the Pope joining as one against the loyal and true Christians, whose only sin, according to those in the Pope's ecumenical church, is to be obedient to the Lord who is soon to split that eastern sky. But they still have one problem here before they can go forward effectively. Yes, the Vatican has been able to gather all the churches except the remnant under one roof, and yes, most Christians see Muslims as their brethren now, and yes, some even see Sharia as an acceptable format for religious law, but the obvious fact remains that Muslims are still killing Christians en masse around the world to the tune of one Christian martyr every 2.5 minutes. So, how will Rome be able to get them on board so as to better control their zeal to do as Rome lusts to do all along, so as to use them as the henchmen holding the trigger on the guillotines, or at the very least as political pawns towards those guillotines? Well, you're correct in assuming that we have to look into the Quran of the faithful Muslim to see how they plan to do this. Now, notice in this news report, the headline is Islam and Vatican in agreement on God and the Queen of Heaven. Okay, now if you scroll down a little bit, before getting there, let me read this little paragraph here. It says, many Catholic faithful are disturbed when they see the Pope kissing the Quran. But this act by the pontiff was not strange at all, because the Vatican and Islam basically worship the same God. They also have common views on the pagan Queen of Heaven. But let's scroll down here to where they touch on something that is stated in the Quran. It's right here. Right here, okay? It says, and this is from their book, Surah, and it's from verse, I guess, chapter 3, verses 45 and 46. It says, Allah bids you rejoice in a word from him. His name is the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary. Okay, I mean, you don't really even have to go much further than that, but let's jump down here, see what the author says in the article. He says, it is interesting to note that in the Quran, Jesus is almost exclusively referred to as Jesus, son of Mary, and absolutely not the Son of God. The Quran vehemently denies that Jesus is the Son of God, yet it holds both Jesus and Mary in high esteem. Muslims consider Mary the greatest of all women. Furthermore, Muhammad is reported to have said that Mary reached the level of perfection. So, but as you continue reading this, or if you actually have a copy of the Quran, you will see the obvious fingerprints of Rome here, who from pagan times have always worshipped a Queen of Heaven that Jeremiah 7:18 says angered the Lord. And if you go to your Bibles, you'll see what I mean. Jeremiah chapter 7 verse 18 says, the children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough, to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Well, it can't be said any plainer than that. So, this Mary worship, or the Queen of Heaven, or however you want to state it, of which, by the way, I go into detail on. If you go to my, let's see, go to the RCC Exposed, go to the Catholic Doctrine, and I got a page here about the Queen of Heaven. Down here, you click it, it'll bring you to the Queen of Heaven. And then if you go to the Catholic Doctrine again, and you might want to check out this Mary Worship page, where it gets pretty intense as to how the Vatican and the popes themselves declare you have to worship Mary. And for those Catholics that are going to be watching this video and have a problem with this, you got to go to this page and you got to click some of these links, especially the ones wherein the popes admit you should worship Mary. So, I mean, these are their statements. I didn't make this stuff up, okay? But they have been planning this attack on God's people for eons. And now all the puzzle pieces seem to be falling into place. But how will they be able to allow for Sharia law to become the norm here in America? Well, as is obvious, they first need a Muslim president. And we now have that with Obama. If you go to my warning section of the website, go to Government Gone Bad, go down to Obama, is Obama a Muslim? And I go into an awful lot of detail here. I got some videos and whatnot, all sorts of links, all sorts of articles, all sorts of statements from the Quran right here as well. Videos all over the place, pictures right here, look at this, pictures of Obama wearing the clothing of a Muslim. And then, and then some basic facts, but here are the updates. They just don't stop coming in. Videos, articles, I mean, it just gets, as to the amount of information that has confirmed, yes, this man's a Muslim, all right? But even Obama needs help here. And we do supposedly still have religious freedom here in America, right? Well, not really. Do you remember this article? Let's see. Here it is, right here. This came out, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. It says, Pope tells Obama he's concerned about religious freedom, right? Well, the Pope here claims to be concerned about religious freedom in America, especially since the so-called religious freedom post has been vacant for at least 6 months now here in America. I'm putting an article on the website about that tomorrow. But if you do the math, 6 months means, like a Christian dying every 2.5 minutes. But now, this is just by the hands of Muslims. 105,210 Christians have been martyred for their faith in just 6 months now. And they don't have anyone at their post in America to where they can help a single Christian avoid the blade of Islam in any way, shape, or form. Okay? That being said, who do you think Obama and the Pope will agree to place at the head of this vacant office? A Roman Catholic, perhaps? Or worse yet, will they actually be bold enough to place a Muslim with a pro-Sharia mindset at the head of this office? I hope you're sitting down, because what I'm about to share, most people are unaware of. Check it out. June 20th, 2011 is when this article was put forth. I'm just going to read the very first paragraph, this very short little paragraph right there. It says, another step in Islamization. The professor who says that Islamic law is better than Western codes is appointed to the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. I hope and pray you were blessed by what was shared here. Please share it with as many as possible. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching. God bless.